Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.
Online dating. I met this girl online. Online dating. I met this girl online. Clicked and fell into this date from here.
Hey, welcome back to the Larry Exercise Show. Thank you for joining us again. Hey, you guys been really good. Thank you for supporting the old guy here. Got to let you know we're going to have a wonderful show here today. We got some just wonderful people in the house today. And hey, look, as you guys know, that I normally turn the show over pretty immediate to the guests, but today I'm going to do a little bit of something because, the show is, I don't really have to explain it, but I will for the sake of what I'm going to talk about here. You know, we did the show because we love talent and supporting the arts, and and in this day and age when so many schools and politicians are defunding art, and hope it not necessarily just the school is defunding the art, but so many organizations are not being funded. And so what we do, we try to support young talent, up and coming talent, people that is making a difference in the world, and it's something we like to keep it on a pretty positive level. And we like to support people that are just making a difference in the world, and people that are just not sitting down and talk about what should be happening and they should do it and not myself get involved in. And I say that to say that, and as you know, I normally turn the show over to the guests right away and get right into whatever the guests want to talk about. But something has been kind of on my mind, and I just have to talk about it, And it's the imprisonment of women in America. And it's just mind-blowing that I don't hear the politicians talking about this. I say both sides. I don't hear enough talking about the devastation of so many women being incarcerated in this country, and brothers, I mean in males, and this is not to exclude you from the conversation. This is not to say that we're not talking about men being incarcerated. We're going to have that conversation, but so don't beat up on me today because it's heavy on my heart that I want to bring up and talk about what we're doing to the women in this country with our prison system. And then what breaks my heart is incarcerating all of these women, that the disproportionate number of women in prison are suffering from mental illnesses. And we're doing nothing about it. And the abuse that is happening to women in the prison system, not just from inside the cells themselves, but the men and women that are in charge of being their security, or the people that's in charge of running these jail systems, where these women are being brutally beat, brutally raped. I mean, think about it, man. Your daughter, your mother, or your sister, your grandmother, your auntie, being in jail because she's mentally ill or she has some mental challenges, and the rape and the abuse that she has to go through. And then once again, it's saying like 1 out of 5 women that are in prison are suffering from mental illness. And then some of them say, well, some people say, well, they should seek medical help. Where? It broke my heart to find out that women in prison are not even given, how should I say it? I'm put the rubber where it meets the road. The feminine monthly needs product that they've been deprived of. Medical care becoming of infections and stuff because the women can't get proper feminine hygiene product in jail, in prisons. and the number of women that is on parole and that is under the custody of the state after they leave jail. Nothing to help them get back into society. And then let's talk about the children. There's over 2 million children in America that got parents in the prison system. And the women that are now having children while they're incarcerated. How can that not break your freaking heart? How can we as Americans stand up and look at ourselves when we are jailing all of these women? And I know we're jailing people in general, but this show, you know how strong of a proponent I am and a supporter of women movement. And I'm calling to any of you that is watching this show, write your congressman write your state, local, community leaders, and don't lay down on this, because we know there's more brown and black women that are in prison. And so, but there's an increase imprisonment of all race of women and the children that is suffering behind this. And this is another thing. There's no oversight of a woman going into prison with her children that system is responsible for. Not the child's welfare, not the child's schooling, not the child's health care, not even a freaking spoon of cereal will the judicial system take responsible for when they take these women out of their homes and putting them into this jail system. And look what they're going to jail for. So we know violent crime should be addressed. We get that. A big majority of these women are going to prison because they're mentally ill and on drugs. I'm sorry, can someone help me understand this? So I want you guys to call your leaders and call some of these women groups, get involved out here and say something, because the Republican Party, the thing that they're doing with the health care system, it's an attack on women. Who do you think is going to be mostly affected? It's going to be women and children that's going to be mostly affected when you cut this health care the way the Republicans are trying to do it. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert in this health care bill. I'm not. And I suggest that I myself and many of us need to educate ourselves on what the effect of it is. But the one thing that all the experts agree upon is that it's going to affect women and children first. Men, we're talking about our mothers, our daughters, our grandmothers, our aunties, our wives, our sisters. What are we going to do? Are we just going to sit up and let this barbaric system do this to the most precious thing that God has created, and that's the woman? Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to ramp on that, and please contact me, Larry Yates, as is at AOL.com, or find me on Facebook. And let's respond to this conversation, whether you like my conversation here or not. Just let me know. But then let me leave you with this challenge of women in prison. What are we going to do? Because you have a woman and her life. Then you have the woman and her child. And then you got the woman as a mother. They need us. Anyway, we got an exciting show here today, and my guest here today is not responsible for this. And if they feel that I've said something that they want to bring into the conversation, they feel free, but don't hold this on them. That is something that Uncle Larry had to get off his chest. So I want to invite the Fountain Theater here in Hollywood got this wonderful play called The Wall, and building the wall. See these people. I love them because they already know to put old Yates into in a correction mode here, and so I explained to them I would butcher up the name, so I'm just gonna do the first name and then they can give the last name. So we have Victoria and Bo here in the house today from Building the Wall, and thank you guys so much for coming here.
Thanks
Yeah. So how you doing, Victoria?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm
Bo?
doing really well.
Good, a little tired, but I'm
Well,
feeling good.
Well, you're looking ruggedly handsome. You come in and say
Why,
you're
thank
tired.
you.
Why, thank you. So, why don't we start out ladies first? You okay with it, Bo?
Absolutely.
Tell us what this Building the Wall is about.
Okay, but first, I do have to make a comment about what you were speaking on earlier.
Okay.
I have family members who are incarcerated, women, and whether or not people believe they should be there or not, right? There is certainly a certain level of care that should be provided. And I've heard in many situations the issue about feminine hygiene products.
Yes.
They're having to create hygiene products from items that they just have around. Also, the rehabilitation process and the rehabilitation system that they have in place, it's not appropriate. It doesn't help people pull themselves together. So then once they get out, they go back in because nothing has shifted for them. And then, of course, the children who then go into the system, who then normally end back up in the system.
Yes.
They end back up in jail because it's what they understand. If they go into the system, foster care, certainly. I mean, I have family members who are in foster care because their parents are incarcerated. And those children are not given assistance because the foster care system is about money.
Yes.
People get money for taking care of children. It's not to say that they're wrong. They should get paid. But there should be some kind of education. There should be extra programs that assist so that people are not going back to prison after they've been there. And then the other thing is, though I enjoy the show Orange is the New Black. I think it's a really wonderfully written show, wonderfully acted show. I have friends on it who are wonderful. But it does make that system look fun and glamorous,
yes,
and exciting. And I want to say to the guests out there, that's TV. It's fantastical. That's not necessarily real.
It's not reality.
No. And though they are showing some things that actually do happen in prison, they're not showing the real ramifications of it because we have to be interested in watching the show. And if you show too much real, nobody's going to want to watch that.
Exactly.
Right? So I just want to say to the audience that definitely look up some things. You know, I think you're throwing up things on the items and pictures and information on your site about what's going on. Look into it. Do some research. But it is a really important subject and topic.
Thank you for speaking in on that because it's just some of the stuff we're glamorizing, and the prison industrial complex is now doing TV shows and lockup and the whole bit, and people are sitting back drinking beer and smoking weed or whatever you're doing and watching these shows, and you're putting money into these the prison industrial complex pocket, and as long as we're allowed to sleep and made it look glamorous, then we're less likely to do anything about it. And so, Bo, would you like to step in on the wall or the building of the wall or whatever's on your consciousness right now? Just help us out. Come on in.
Then I guess I'll jump in on that. I'll
Jump in.
talk about what the play is about.
Yes.
Speaking about.
It's a two-person play, just the two of us, an hour and a half in a room. It's pretty intense. A former prison supervisor is now in prison, federal prison himself, and is being visited by a historian who wants to write a story about what really happened, and he's in there for reasons I don't think I should give the ending away.
Well,
but,
I'm like, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat there. Come on.
You haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen
What?
it yet. Okay,
Oh, you
tickets.
got to come see it.
Got to get me there. But go ahead,
she
please.
comes in to find out about find out the real story and why, or his side of the story, which hasn't been talked about in his trial. He's now in prison himself, waiting sentencing, and something horrific has happened, and we, through the course of the play, discover what that is, and
How did this play come about?
Robert Schenkkan actually wrote the play.
Okay.
Robert Schenkkan is a Tony Award winning
I'm
and
very
Pulitzer
familiar.
Prize
Pulitzer Prize.
winning. He's written 10 full-length plays. He's,
considered one of
amazing
the
and-
best American playwrights around
Yes.
right
Yeah,
now. I think.
yeah. But I believe from things that I've read, he sounded like he was absolutely moved to write this as a tool of change and to assist in opening people's eyes and making people aware and helping people to recognize their own responsibility in where we are in the world.
He wrote it in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
A week before the election happened, after the, being, as he said, in a white hot fury about the immigration policy that Trump was touting, and when the election happened, and the result was what we all know now, he retooled it quickly and called his friend Stephen Sachs at the Fountain Theater because they needed to get it up quickly because it and during the rehearsal process he was there. I mean, we were having to change lines as events happened during the course of rehearsal.
I want to thank the Fountain Theater for being a outlet for this type of work because we've had several people from several projects from the Fountain Theater here on the show, and I've gone there a long time, so I feel really, really blessed to support what the Fountain Theater is doing in giving this type of work an outlet. And so how is a little bit of this play have just a little bit of the Trump immigration tied into it, as much as you can talk about without giving the play away? Is there any of that in there, or is that just a subliminal message in there?
Well, I would say that my character is in federal prison now because of directly as a result of the immigration policies that went into place, and how those policies were there was no forethought as to how they were going to deal with these policies in reality, and how that spiraled out of control and became led to something very horrific.
Victoria, how did
Yes.
you get involved in this play?
Actually, I have only been with it for 3 weeks. There was another woman playing the role prior. I think they'd been doing the show for almost 4 months.
This is
together.
coming up on our fourth
This is
month.
the fourth month.
Yes.
Okay.
And the woman who was playing Gloria previously was not able to continue with the extension. She had a prior
Second
obligation.
extension, actually.
Second extension.
extension.
Yeah.
And they called me one day and said, hey, would you be interested in coming down to audition? I've worked with the Fountain before. And I came down to audition, and I was driving home, and before I got home, they called me. You rarely get those moments. I was
Don't you
like,
love those phone calls?
I feel so loved. I said, I'm not even home.
Oh, my
you
goodness.
love me, you really do. No, but, and then we had...
Well,
It was
being in the
actually a
room
bit of-
on that day, there was a reason.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we auditioned together.
Say that again.
I said, being in the room that day with her and reading with her at her audition, I said there was a reason she was called immediately.
Oh, thank you. Well, we auditioned together. He was there in the room because,
Oh,
he was
really?
already-
I read
yes,
with her.
Yeah, it made sense because you wanted to see whether we were going to have, I guess chemistry.
chemistry.
and
Yeah,
whether we
chemistry,
would be able to
everybody
work
talks
off of each
about,
other.
you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then basically they said you've got a week to learn the script before rehearsal started.
Oh, my God,
and then we went in and we literally had like 7 days. The two of us had 7 days to basically put the show up. And it wasn't just me who was learning something new. I'll let Bo tell that part of the story, but both of us are. It's a bit of a new show in a way. But I'll let you.
A little bit. This is part of a rolling world premiere, so it's had productions now in Denver, Washington, D.C., off-Broadway, Florida, and it has many other productions coming up across the country. Robert Schenkkan wanted to get it out there as quickly as possible because it is so timely, so it is happening now. And and that message we were talking about to get people to rise up, because the possibility of what happens in this production is still a possibility.
Tell me a little bit about what this play has taught you.
What this play has taught me. For me, and I think the election was a big wake-up call for a lot of people in this country, liberals in particular, that there is a part of our society that was neglected and overlooked and, kind of pushed to the side. And my character is representative of one of those people that felt that they were the disenfranchised, the deplorables, as Clinton referred to them as.
See, I'm getting it. Starting to soak in a little bit without you
giving
it away. Well, without you giving it away, because I'm not from America. I was born in Mississippi. So, so we had our own money, and we still got our own flag. Not that I share the flag, but but I grew up around that level of thinking, and whether I call it right or wrong or not, I know exactly the some of the emotion behind what Mrs. Clinton was saying about this particular element. That is within the country, and you just have that, and how we're going to address it is. And I was saying to somebody, it may have been today, and people say, well, how bad Trump and how we despise him, but actually Trump is. Don't send me no emails and cut it off right there.
Here it comes.
But Trump is probably the best thing that happened to this country in my lifetime, because look, if your legs and ankles and shit is swelling up and you can't fit in the shoes, and your chest is hurting and you're bending over and you're short of breath and you're sweating profusely, you might need to go get your heart checked out. You might have a little cardiology problem, but it is those symptoms that step up to show you that you have a problem, and then you can identify it, and then you have a strong possibility of going in, finding a cure, fixing it. Trump is the symptom of the illness and the pain and the suffering and the hatred and all of that bundled up into one, and he may be a bad case of gas. I don't know.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. A little Alka-Seltzer and some ginger ale.
Look, but I feel he's a symptom, and it's just a warning sign that we must pay attention to some of the things that's going on in this country.
Right. We turn out in deplorable numbers to vote in this country.
And especially our local elections.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yes.
Really, really bad.
Yeah,
I am glad, though, that you said that you mentioned Trump as being the symptom, because a lot of people ask me about the play and they go, is it anti-Trump? Because they just don't want to come and sit and listen to an hour and a half of just Trump bashing. And that's not what it is.
Not
I think
at
we
all.
maybe mention his name 3 times, in the the entire play. It's not anti-Trump. What it is anti-unawareness. It's do not allow yourself to believe that you are not a part of the system that you're complaining about, and that you really need to open your eyes. I think what Bo said earlier was very true, is it was a wake-up call. I was not shocked that he won. I wasn't. And I do think it is one of the best things that happened, because in order to address an issue, you got to know it's there.
Yes.
Yep.
And we didn't
woke a
know
lot of people up.
It woke a lot of people up. We didn't know that many people were that mad. And
Yeah.
we didn't know that many people had those ideas. And the thing is, I really work on being all-inclusive and knowing that people who support, who are Republican or people who are Democrat, I've tried to be inclusive of all of it. For one thing, I think it's insane that we would place ourselves in two separate categories, and that's it.
Right.
All of the varying people
Yes,
that
yes.
are in the
And
world.
that seems to be
in this
above country.
Exactly. That there aren't overlaps here and there, and there are. There are places there are some Republican values that I appreciate. But I want to reiterate, it is not an anti-Trump show.
Now, you get this, guys.
It's not. And also, that would actually make it too narrow anyway.
Yes.
Because this happened before. I don't want to give anything
no.
away.
See what
So
you guys got to look
almost-
at. You got to give us
No,
something.
we're not giving you
I love the
anything
way
else.
Vicky said
But that's the way I gave you give it away.
I was
think
like,
it's about
no, don't say it. But he is, as you said, he is the symptom. He is how we know that there's something going on, and it could happen again. You know what I mean? So recognizing where we are and being able to have conversations, because the second that I say, I don't like Republicans and I'm not talking to Republicans, then the conversation is gone.
Yes.
Then there's just no way to move forward together. Then we're on opposite sides and we can't work as a team. We can't think of it in that way. That is not going to get us to. Everyone wants to live a fulfilled and healthy and happy life. Everyone wants to be able to pursue their dreams and have health insurance and raise families that are supported. I don't think anybody on either side would disagree with that. But in order to get to a common goal, then we actually have to find a commonality. And in order to do that, we have to have conversation. In order to have conversation, we can't have judgment in the way that we have it. We just can't. The conversation can't happen with that kind of judgment.
Bo, your thoughts on that?
Well, no, I was just going to say that that was Schenkkan's intention. I think is the character I play is written in such a way that he is extremely sympathetic, and you really begin to relate and understand with his situation why he did the things he did, and makes you think about what you would do in that situation.
Well, I think that's a great point. I got to see this show. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
you
this show.
do.
So,
You really do.
so that's why I'm glad I didn't because you guys,
Now
you
you'll
know,
be
I'm
prepped.
a big mouth. I'd give away the end, and I said, yeah, he died at on the cliff or something. You know.
Okay,
No,
then
I'm
you
just
see
kidding.
it August 27th. You can come see it
I
the
can come
last
after the
day.
show.
Closing.
You come on closing.
But the thing about it is I like what you said about the awareness and dialogue is extremely important. And like I'm a life coach, and so now the reason I bring that up is I'm training for ADHD coaching, and I need to train it for myself. I know people. I know I'm OCD, ADHD. You can just go from A B C D F G H I J K L M N P Q R S T U. I got it all.
We just saw him drink hand sanitizer.
Yeah. But I'm fascinated with inner dialogue. And the reason I'm fascinated with inner dialogue is because I'm fluent with sign language, ASL. And in going through ASL training, I learned that people that are born deaf does not have inner dialogue as you and I do. They don't even know what you're talking about, or when you're signing to them, what voices they're hearing in their head as they're making decisions. Right. They don't even. You can't even explain it to a person that was born deaf. For those of us that are hearing people, we have these voices in our head and this inner dialogue that we're constantly reacting to. And I found and believe that we react to the voice in our heads that cause the visceral reaction, and that's the one we start to believe because we're feeling it. So it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Asian, whatever. When that inner dialogue is going off in your head, and that, whether I agree with it or not, once that voice cause a visceral reaction within you, then you're going to react to that accordingly. And I need to talk with you, dialogue with you, to understand what is it that's going on in you, rather than look at your color and say, well, he's an angry. Now, it used to be the angry black man. Now I'm hearing more, well, he's the angry white guy. You know, so, and I think in to stop putting titles on each other and really sit down and get to know what is it that is bothering you. What is your pain? Because I got mine, no question about it.
Right.
We all do.
We all
That's
do.
right.
But if we don't sit down and listen to each other, talk about their pain. We can talk about the new car, the clothes, the cell phone, the text messages.
What scares me is that this communication, that dialogue that we need to have, there are now some people that are that back this president despite everything that they know about him and what he's doing and what he has done, and are still fanatical about him, and will not hear anything, will not hear a word bad against about
Exactly.
him. And that is baffling to
Well,
me, and that scares me a little bit, because how can you have that conversation with someone who's just not willing to have it?
Right. I understand that too. I mean, and where do you have these? I mean, the conversations that I normally have with people, or I used to, I don't now, Facebook conversations where someone, where you try to have dialogue, right? Even dialogue, even if you're upset, even if you disagree, right? Which I have no problem with. I'm inclusive, but I disagree often. Yeah. And we're okay. And then
but they're not willing to look at any
facts. And then we can
facts.
have a little Facebook drink and keep it moving. Yeah. But then name calling happens, and facts, not
Fake
about facts
news,
at all.
right.
And
alternative
It
facts.
is.
Yeah.
It's challenging to have conversation. And it is, I guess that is the big question. How do we have conversation when people, and some on both sides, don't want to have conversation? They don't want to move. That person's wrong. They're wrong. But then we have to recognize on the side that we're on, right? Because based on our conversation, we're all in this section over here, that we're going, everything that they think is wrong. Everything that they think is wrong. But if we come at it in that way, and they come at it that way, where's the movement? And I don't know what the answer is, but maybe seeing the play is one of the things.
Because emotionally, we've all built these walls in our life. You're just talking about a wall. I'm over here. I'm liberal, and I have built a wall, and everything that's behind my wall is right.
Right.
You are Republican, and everything you built in your wall and around you is right. But to me, it's wrong. So we get into this right and wrong the minute we sit at the table, because we are automatically calling each other right and wrong.
Right.
Whether it's politics, religion, or just
Exactly.
in basic relationships and arguments. We can't get past who's right and wrong. But what I do believe, and there's no guarantee, what I do believe is that everybody wants to be heard.
Yes.
So what I have found, and I've been able, because of the show, I've been really blessed with this, that has allowed me the ability to talk with people on both sides. But what I have found is I have to listen to them and not make them right or wrong, but just hear them out, because we want to be heard. I want to be heard. I'm blessed that I have this mic that I can be heard. But everybody don't have the mic.
Right.
But everybody wants to be heard. And I think that's where we can kind of start, not making people right or wrong, but just say, let me listen to you. Tell me what you feel. Tell me your side, and I won't judge you. I just want to hear it.
And just to play devil's advocate, I mean, then you present them, okay, well, I've heard your argument, but we have this and this and this and this that says the opposite. And these facts show that what you're saying is incorrect, and yet they still refuse to believe that.
Yeah, because
to see facts, to see
Right.
the plain truth right in front of them, they don't see it as the truth.
I like this. Let me be devil's advocate. Let me be devil's advocate about that. Hey, Mike just attacked me.
I saw it.
You saw it.
I saw it too.
I'm blaming it on Trump. But anyway.
Your mic is Republican. I couldn't help it. It was too easy.
Just tried to hit
I'm
you.
getting hate tweets. I'm getting hate tweets.
I love it. But let's use that. In dialoguing, and I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there, because going back to this play, Build the Wall, and what I haven't seen the play, but I can visualize emotionally that this is what we do in Trump talking about building a real wall to wall the country in, whatever. But even though facts, when we're listening to that person, whether they're Republican or whether we disagree with religion, whatever we disagree with the person about, even with the facts, it depends on how we use the facts. See, we can use the facts like baby
Right.
food, or we can use the facts like a hatchet,
Like,
a
right.
sledgehammer.
Sure.
Yes. So, and that is what I found myself doing for so many years. When I would talk to someone, I got the numbers, and I'm pretty good with numbers and facts because I'm not going to say it on this and can't back it up. You follow me?
Sure.
So I can give you dates and numbers and time. But I've learned that I can't use the information as a sledgehammer because even though you're giving the person facts, you're hurting them. And that facts become painful to them. So,
and they can't receive it.
And they can't receive it. You know,
Understand it.
give you an example of that. You can give me basically any religion. I can go back and tell you dates and time when a religion was started. Well, there's some of the things that we believe as Christians, we believe as Islam, we believe that Judaism never ever happened. It never exists. I won't say it, so don't nobody have to jump on me. But if I came back and told the Christian that no, what you just believe in, it's not true. Here's how it was started. They can't hear it because I'm hurting them. And this is what happens is when we are armed with information.
Well, you're assaulting their beliefs.
Yes, it's very powerful. It's very powerful, you know.
Finding and what you're talking about is finding a way to make the truth palatable so that it can be heard.
Yes.
And not assaulting people with it so then they still feel attacked and then there's no exchange.
Exactly. And I
Makes
tell you a
sense.
little bit to go along with that. Then that's where listening comes in at. Because if you listen to a person, if you listen to them hard enough, then you can determine how much of the facts that you have that they can receive. That's what listening is all about. It's not listening to catch them wrong. It's you sitting here with this ton of information, and you have to listen to the person, and then you have to filter out, do I want to open the floodgate on this person? Or do I want to just get a little nugget and feed it to them and not force it down their throat and sit back and see what they do with it? Does that make sense?
It does.
Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah,
I mean, it's funny you talk about Christianity. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, if eating meat offends your brother, don't eat it in the front of him. Right? And it is similar. It is.
Yeah.
It's similar because you have to, you won't be able to have conversation.
Yeah.
All he's thinking about is that's meat. It's meat sitting there. Now I can't talk to you because I'm offended just by
Exactly.
that.
And there's another powerful statement in there. You don't feed meat to babies.
Yes,
You give them milk.
this is true.
And so if I'm a baby in the knowledge that you have, don't give me a big old chunk of meat. Kind of grind it up a little bit and kind
That's
of
true.
give it to me in a little liquid form. And then maybe I can digest
take it in.
Maybe I can digest it. So let me ask you about this play again. I love this conversation because The Wall, the producer name is what now? The writer and producer's name is?
The writer is Robert Schenkkan, the producer. is
Robert
the-
Schenkkan. Thank you for this because look at the dialogue that we are having based upon The Wall. And I hope this pleases you. I'm looking for the name. Bobby. I'm serious. I'm kidding. Bo. I'm just kidding.
Bert.
But how did you get into the acting world? Everybody know I'm not well.
I'm a
Pray for me.
I am
Right now, it's happening.
I'm actually it's a family business for me. My father's an actor. My mother is an artistic director of a theater, or was. She's now retired, and was an actor and a director. And my my sister, I should say, is a director, and aunts, uncles. So we're all in the business, and I've been in the business since professionally since I was 18, but I've been working in the theater since I was 12 years old.
So what did the 12-year-old boy want to be when he grew up? I mean,
An actor.
Yeah, tell me about
Always
that 12-year-old
wanted to be an
boy.
actor.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything. All my focus went into that. But I was also, and I think at the time I found it very much, because my parents would not support me in this at all. I mean, they were in the business, but they said, you want to be in this business, you got to do it on your own.
Yeah.
You got to love this business, because otherwise you should not be in it.
It's
And
brutal.
Don't be in it because we're in it. You know, because and they were successful in it as well. So, you know, it may look like peaches and cream from my side, but you know, it's not always that. But so they were supportive, but you know, they let me do my thing, and but I also experienced the world and did a lot of things outside of the business too, which I think helped feed me as an actor. And
So once again, Building the Wall at the Fountain Theater. What are the dates?
So we run from now until August 27th. We have Saturday night at 8, Sunday at 2, Monday at 8. And we do have a few Friday performances thrown in. But
Every other Friday.
Every other Friday. Starting this weekend, actually. So the 21st is 20, is that right?
Friday the 21st,
Friday,
whatever this Friday is.
Yes, whatever this Friday is. I think that's the 14th.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the 14th.
Yeah, because we
I
don't
told
have
you.
one. 21st we do not. The 28th we do.
That's right, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 14th, that's tomorrow night.
You can
Oh.
get
Yeah,
all this
show.
information at Fountain Theater,
Yes.
theater spelled RE.com. And it
Once again, do that. Repeat that.
Fountain Theater, and theater is spelled RE at the end, .com. FountainTheater.com.
So Victoria, tell us a little bit about you. Where were you born, raised, where you come up, and how you get into this crazy
business. I was born and raised in Queens, New York.
Ah, East Coast.
Queens.
Hi. Yeah, completely opposite of my country, Mississippi thinking.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
My parents were not in the business, although my mother was a singer in Florida. She sang with Sam Cooke.
Really?
Yeah, when she
Wow.
was younger. Isn't
Oh,
that
wow.
awesome? Yeah,
Okay.
she was background singer for Sam Cooke. And I actually got into it because my mom coached other kids in the neighborhood. She coached singing.
Okay.
I did not want to be an actor. I was really shy and quiet. I know.
You
strange.
shy and
Yes.
quiet.
I was really shy and quiet.
It's just like
And-
telling me I need to get a tan. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But I wanted to be a cardiovascular surgeon at age 6. Don't ask me
Wow,
why.
that's
which is now they call it
switch.
thoracics now. I know, but I wanted to be a heart surgeon. I thought surgery was fascinating and medicine was fascinating. And what happened was
See, what had happened was.
my mom was coaching one of my friends in the neighborhood for an audition. And my mom took her to the audition, and I tagged along. I sat in the same section that she sat in. And when they called all of us up, it was this huge theater, and it was an audition for Annie. And they said, okay, all the girls in these 3 rows, come up. And I was like, I'm not auditioning. And they're just herding us up. Just come on, come on. And they stood us up on stage and lined us up. And we had to sing 8 bars of The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. And they pointed to me, and I was like, and I sang. And I heard my voice in this massive theater, and I was like,
Whoa.
this is amazing. Cardiovascular surgeon, what? But I was bit by the bug, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I booked that job. But
Wow.
but it was a tour of Annie, and they didn't allow everyone's parents to come, and my parents were like, no.
Yeah.
But but if you're really interested, then we'll get you an agent. And
So tell
That's
me
what happened.
what does this play The Wall bring to consciousness for you?
You know, it's interesting. The role that I play of Gloria, I feel a great kinship to her because I pride myself, and I hope other people believe this too, but I pride myself on being really inclusive. I have a lot of dichotomies in my life. My mom is West Indian. My dad is a Polish Jew. I had black brothers and sisters. I had white brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? It was a very, my experience has been very,
Broad.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I have white family and I have black family. And some people have lots of money and some people live in poverty. And I've experienced both sides of that. So I really pride myself on being very all-inclusive and trying to understand other people's side and really trying to understand where they come from so that I know where they are and how to address them, sort of like what you were saying. And she really does that. She obviously comes with prejudices. Everyone does. We all do. But I think when she's dealing with the character of Rick, who Bo plays, she really is trying to just get at the truth and try to understand. And I think that's where Robert Schenkkan wants us all to be, is in the place of how can I make myself a part of the solution instead of part of the problem? How can I understand where other people are coming from and be able to adjust? You know, there's a line in the show. I'm not going to give anything away. This won't give anything away. But there's a line in the show that says, you know, why is it that when conservatives wonder about conspiracies, they're being paranoid, but when liberals do, they're being smart. And the thing is, that is true. That is a very true statement.
That's a very powerful statement.
It is. And she has to go, you know, she's got to have a moment of, I give on that one. You get that point. It's true.
Now, what is her name? What's the character name again?
Her name is Gloria.
And
Rick.
Rick and Gloria. Are these coming from two racial groups, or the same, or is that implied in the play at all?
Well, I mean, obviously he's playing a white dude. I'm playing a black
Actually,
woman.
I'm playing West Indies.
That's not going to work. That's not going to work. But look here, you know what? That's not going to work. You pretending to be white over there. Once again, it's like telling me I need a tan.
Right? No, but there is that conversation that happens as well. Is we do have to address that, which is I think important.
In that dialogue, is that something that his character is saying to you?
It is something that he addresses first, yes. But I think it's
actually, no. I don't actually.
You don't
bring
actually
it
bring it. Right.
You do.
He makes a comment, and I make the assumption that that's what he's addressing.
Because I'm black.
Right.
You got to see the fountain theater on the wall. So, you know, guys,
we're being very cryptic.
Yeah, I know. Try not to give anything away.
I know. Well, you know, the producers and other shows should be very proud. They didn't give anything away, and I've been kind of squeezing. I've been being like the little devil here and pulling a little bit here. And look, the time is just running out, and I just thank you guys. When the show ends and stuff, I would like for you guys to come back on the show and just talk about the experience.
Absolutely.
And let us know what you're going to be doing next. I want you to make this your home, and anything that you're working on, please keep our show in on the list. This is your home. You can always come back here and promote and talk about the world or whatever. I love having you guys here, the energy here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Larry.
Where are we with the time? Jarvis just informed me that we got 3 minutes. And the way I like to end the show, is there one more thing you want to say about give us the websites?
We got the Fountain Theater.
FountainTheater.com.
It runs through August 27th.
Yes.
And come.
Yes.
Come see the
show.
Building
and
of the Wall.
Mondays are Pay What You Can night. I know a lot of people are like,
Did you hear
I can't
that?
afford theater. Yes, you can. Mondays are Pay What You Can night.
Mondays are Pay What You Can.
Come on down. Pay What You
Tell
Can.
them Larry X's show sent you there.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank Carolyn Wilkins for booking you guys and getting you guys on this show. I love that. She does great work here, helping us out with this here. What we do with the show, I generally end with a few words of wisdom from whatever your experience are you want to say. For the sake of time, we're short. But, Bo, give us just a couple words of wisdom as we close the show.
Couple words of wisdom. All I can say is we need to love each other.
That's very powerful. That's very powerful. I thank you for that. I just want to thank you for coming on the show. And I told him he was ruggedly handsome. We was talking in the back, and now he's ruggedly handsome with a very powerful message, which I do. You know, we do really need to love each other. We really do. And thank you for that. Victoria, as we close the show, would you like to give us a few words of wisdom?
I piggyback on that. There's nothing more powerful than loving each other. There just isn't.
I just, and the simplicity of it as we speak that, And I just want to thank you guys for coming on the show. I want to thank the Fountain Theater, Hollywood Fountain Theater, for allowing us to have you guys here and promoting what they do. And I want to thank the Fountain Theater for all the work that they do and having this outlet for this type of work and this type of message. And I want to thank the writers and producers for this, So, but as we close the show, I think in the level of consciousness that we are all experiencing now, there's an energy that is moving through the consciousness of human beings, mankind, throughout the planet. As we look around ourselves and we see so much pain, we see so much suffering, we also see flowers blossoming. We see the birds. We see the newborns. We see the babies. And in supporting the new birth of life, the new birth of ideas, the new birth of consciousness, that is all symbolic of honoring that greatest gift that was given to us, those that give birth, which is our women. As I said earlier, remember, a nation can rise no higher than it elevates its woman. Peace. This is Larry. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you next week.
And fell into the state from hell. She looked nothing